On the evening of Saturday, November the 7th, a rather big wave was felt on the trading post, more specifically within the Infusion market. This was done by one of the top traders within the community known as the Overflow Trading Company Discord server, and quite simply consisted of that one individual, whose name will not be revealed in this video, deciding to sell their rather huge check Infusion stock directly to the buy orders. However, reporting on the news isn't just about saying that someone sold a bunch of items, as just about anyone could see that from checking up on doors2bltc.com or another trading post API-based website or sheet. What's really concerning is what happened, which caused this event, and also sparked one of the most controversial discussions on Reddit, as all posts pertaining to RMT allegations are. What exactly happened on Saturday? Are the accusations true, or are they baseless? What is the future of the most highly sought-after market in the game? I'm your host today, Sam Majeste, and I'll try my best to bring constructive answers. First of all, this whole situation did stem from an RMT issue as reported by the moderating team on the Discord server I mentioned earlier. This happened rather often these last few weeks and can be understood as a desire from the moderation team to ensure a safe environment to trade within, and that is something we can but commend them for. However, the way it is being handled isn't always the most thoughtful, and this time around I cannot help but lament the decisions that led to what Reddit calls a trading community drama. Indeed, the policy over at the Overflow Trading Company is that upon a confirmed case of RMT, the entirety of the guild members affiliated with the RMT case has to go, and such a case happened on Saturday. Now, although the information that eventually allowed to crack down on the RMT case was from way back, the action that was taken affected all the people currently affiliated with the structure. Thus, they got blacklisted from the Overflow Trading Company, which is widely different from an actual in-game ban. We once again have Reddit to thank for mistaking the two terms. A blacklisting from an in-game community is equivalent to that community saying, "We have a strong suspicion that exchanging items with that person is not safe." This happens every other day on OTC, as well as GW2 Exchange, as the safety of the people participating in the initiatives is what matters most to the moderation. An in-game ban would happen over a confirmed case of RMT beyond the suspicion exerted by the trading communities, and we can't just mix and match these two terms. However, when you are used to working a lot with a given community, being cut out of it in a matter of minutes can be a very emotionally intense thing. I have no way of knowing how the person themselves may have felt at the time, but their reaction sure was observable, as they decided to sell a fair amount of items considered to be extremely expensive to the buy orders on the trading post, eventually causing a miniature crash of that market, although it seems at first glance that the impact will not be that huge in the midterm. We can assume from every bit of information that was collected overnight that check infusions were sold for as low as 1,000 gold, which is a tenth of what is regularly paid to get them on the trading post. The general way these are handled is that upon someone buying them on the trading post for 10,000 gold, they either plan to keep them or to resell them for a higher margin outside of the trading post. If anything, that is how one of the gold-making plans was built up. Under the nickname of Infusion Gatekeepers, some people had as a plan to add up a large amount of their own buy orders to the ones put up by players wanting to own these extremely rare infusions, such as the check infusion, the confetti infusion, or the even rarer Heart of the Cat infusion. By ensuring the price of the buy order remained at 10,000 gold, the highest limit for a buy order, they could maintain the trading of said infusions entirely outside the trading post, thus controlling the narrative of the drop rate. It personally took me about a year before I got my first check infusion on the trading post, but that should confirm that I am not making things up. Let's do some quick math over this, shall we? Assuming for the sake of it that a dozen check infusions drop from the event every year, and that the two boss rushes we get a year add another 10 infusions each on top of this. An individual with 250,000 gold or more could keep up the front on the infusion buy orders and then selling them back for more than 18,000 to the people legitimately wanting one for cosmetic effects. And this adds fuel to the engine. Now you might ask, what will happen with the person keeping up that check infusion wall gone? Well, to give you a real-life comparison, try and remember the 2008 crisis. This basically was created because as long as you could put up a collateral of a certain value to back up your debt, a loan could be handed to you by a bank. By removing what had value in the system, which was housing back in 2008, and also removing the guarantee and security in the form of the federal bank, the other banks found themselves being allowed loans backed by assets that had less value than the amount of credit. Today in GW2, we have a system where the market is being kept up by a fake demand, which only exists because people aim to resell instead of using the infusions, meaning they don't effectively get removed from the trading market. This means that now that the person who was keeping the infusion value in check is gone, every person who wishes to get one will simply have to put up a buy order instead of trying to find solace in out-of-the-trading post exchanges. Personally, I think that it is not a major risk in the midterm, because as long as the demand for the amulet's upgrade component, the actual check exec, isn't completely removed, we will still have a reason to maintain the infusion price at 10,000 as well. I hope this video won't age poorly over this matter, but with around 100 check infusions added to the economy, it's really about just how many will be kept by the people who got them and how many people plan to resell them at a profit over the next few months. I would put my finger on the price stabilizing around 14,000 for the time being, before settling around 15 to 17k in the mid to long term. The actions of one player can cause mayhem for a little time, but as one of the most sought after items in the game, the check infusion will most probably keep enticing the masses. This concludes this impromptu video, which I really wanted to do in order to correct the statements on Reddit, as well as what was being relayed around. A community showing suspicion isn't a definite ban from ArenaNet, and the actions of one person, while they have a lasting impact when they are as big as the trader who went out there, are to be taken with the big picture in mind. As an addendum to the original script meant for this video, we at the Tyrian News Report have just gotten wind that the blacklisting of that guild had been a hasty decision, and that after further research on the evidence that was supplied, the suspicion is gone. The traders are currently being rehabilitated to their previous ranks within the trading structure. All is well that ends well. Once again, thank you for having tuned in to the Tyrian News Report, the only place for you to get quality information on what is happening within Guild Wars 2. I'm your host, Sa Majesté, and I wish every single one of you some happy trading and to get rich.